coaching points if you're going to be a dribble drive coach. I think the first one is spacing, 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 and I wrote that 3 times for a reason. Rick Majerus used to say offense is spacing and spacing is offense. Wahlberg always talked about more room for the players to drive, gaps, gaps, gaps. And I think the thing that you need to teach your players is make sure that on any passes, there's a sprint to that space that opens up room for you. It's a huge point of emphasis, making hard cuts, making the offense harder to guard. If players are jogging through their cuts, it'll be really hard to run dribble drive. Teams will be able to defend you better than they should because it's a terrific offense, one that I wish I'd have been able to play with when I was younger. Movement of the ball, I think an important coaching point, and you start to see that now with the analytics in basketball. The dribble side, when we come up the floor, is considered our first side. If we can move that ball to a second side, and then it moves back to the third side, anything that you look at in basketball's analytics today with statistics shows you that second and third side, your shooting percentage goes through the roof. And I realize probably at the high school level, you're not able to do some of those stats. But I think if you have an assistant check those things or try to run plays where the ball goes from one side to the other, your offense will be better. To try to come down and just jam it in with the dribble is really very challenging unless you have a superstar. And if you have that player, you probably could run anything and it really won't matter. Getting to a one guard front. The Wahlberg offense started out with the 2-3 setup. Very easy for teams to naturally slide into a zone or naturally slide into switches. I think it's important to use through cuts, loop cuts, nail cuts, whatever you want to call it, to get your trailer guard out of the way. Even sometimes go 4 low. And that'll be in my video where you see the 4 low set where a player gets completely out and lets the point guard go and then they clear out from there. But again, it's important 1 guard fronts to allow your player more room to go. If we constantly are in 2 guard fronts, very hard for your guards to have any room up top. Okay, utilizing the back door. I think sometimes when we see our players, and I know this from my experience, players want to run kick-ups. They want to come up and get the pitch. They want to come get the handoff, and we have to make them go back door. It creates more room, and it allows that last piece of the box or the drop series, to get the point guard going back door. So again, emphasize when teams are sagging and switching, run more back doors, utilize it more, have a couple calls that tell the kids, hey, we're going back door on this. And I think that's important as a coach, that you see how teams guard you and you have some tools in the toolbox to kind of decode what they're trying to do to you. Okay? Fake handoffs. I kind of got this from watching Chris Paul, NBA player for the Houston Rockets. He loves the fake handoff, and it's a very simple move to teach. It's just basically a turn of the back, but they're very hard to guard. Incorporate that into your kick-ups. Fake handoffs on the kickbacks, on the kick-ups. Any of those things where you have handoff action or kick-up action or kickback, if you add a fake to that, or a fake ball screen even to those things, you're going to get bigger gaps, you're going to get more isolations, and you're going to get to bigger gaps. And we talk about double gaps with double room in between one player and the next. You know, a triple gap would be 3 gaps between players, and you'll see some of that in the on the floor demonstration where I get players in triple gaps where there's no help and players are able to drive into the paint. And again, that's what you want when you're running dribble drive. You want paint touches, you want windows to 3, you want to get lay-ins or 3-point shots, and that's what I'm trying to help you get to today. Find your best player and get them the ball. I think this is something that as coaches, don't overcomplicate the game. Have a couple things for either end of quarter, end of game. Get your best player the ball. The one thing about running motion is sometimes the ball ends up in the wrong player's hand at the wrong time. I think you need some special calls, and that's one of the things I'll have up there for you is some special calls. Getting your best player the ball with gaps to go and make a play. It's won me lots of ball games over the last 25 years, and I think trying to figure that thing out for younger coaches, don't overcomplicate it. Get your best player the ball and let them go. And then lastly, I think this is really important, and I know that when I was a young coach, I was very lucky. I had some coaches that had experience help me and kind of take me under their wing and show me things, because I think as a coach, sometimes you think you know a lot because maybe you played the game and you had some success as a player, and you go into coaching and you think, oh, this is easy. This is a simple thing to do. I played basketball. I know what I'm doing. And the reality of it is the sooner that you can realize you don't really know a lot as a player becoming a coach or even a new coach, the better you'll be. And it'll humble you, keep you hungry, mastering your craft, watching games, I used to go to a college practice every fall, sometimes 2 or 3 times. I remember a trip to Stanford, Cal, and St. Mary's for watching, and we'd stay there for 3 or 4 days, and then other trips to UCLA and USC, and then sometimes going to different locations. And sometimes it's the high school coach down the road that's a 30-year veteran that has been through everything, fundraising, parents, and all those crazy things you may see at the high school level if you're a young high school coach out there. So again, watch, study, learn. There's lots of great coaches. I've got my email up there, and that'll be on the video notes as you go through this. Feel free to reach out to me if there's any questions about anything that you see up here or anything that you see out on the on-court demonstrations.